Hello, and welcome again to Talking Baseball with Leon Lee. Today is July 8th, 2021. I'm here again with Mr. Leon Lee. And Leon, our never-ending, exciting guest just continues today.
Yes, it does, Steve. And I'll tell you what, I'm giddy like a little kid in the candy store today because we got some real special guests. I'm always glad to have our guys on with Stony. How you doing tonight, Stony?
I'm doing well, Mr. Lee.
Stony
How's
Briggs.
everybody else doing?
Doing good. And we also have my homie from Sacramento, California, played with the Philadelphia Phillies and can't get much closer to me. And Ricky Jordan. How you doing tonight, Ricky?
Doing great, Leon. Just blessed to be here. Thanks for having me again.
Good. I appreciate you being on. And we have a real special guest and his son on tonight. We got Jerry Mumphrey. Now, me and Jerry started out together in 1971, and we were first roommates in Sarasota, Florida. And we got Jerry Mumphrey, and who played 14 years in the major leagues, and his son Jerron on today. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great, Leon. Just great to be here. Thank you for having me here. Good to see you, man. It's been a long time. I think like 50 years, I believe.
Yes, sir.
when we first started to play baseball, and we were my first roommate, the first guy ever doing baseball, guys.
The first guy I ever met, the first time I walked into Sarasota is on this podcast right now, Jerry Mumphrey.
Yes, first time.
Yeah. How you doing, Jerron?
I'm doing outstanding. Just same thing. Just excited to be here, and it's been a long time. It's been since the golf course in 1998. Since I think I told you I shook some of the biggest paws I've ever shook in my life. So. very memorable. But yeah, we played golf that day, and
that's
just
right.
Pleasure to be on with you guys today.
That's a lot of fun, and not only big, Jerron, they loose. You know, I got real floppy wrists. You know, I could play music with my wrist. So that's what made it kind of unique. And you know what? We were going to have our other roommate on, start with Larry Herndon from Memphis, and he played 14 years in the big leagues. I think he might have gotten tied up. We'll catch Jerry. Larry will probably, if he doesn't come on the show tonight, we'll catch him on another time, because I like to let you guys know that when we do this podcast, usually on a weekly basis, you guys are welcome to be on anytime, because all we do is talk baseball. And you know, tonight, you know, I want to tell one real quick story before we get into our conversation, because along with Jerry Mumphrey and Larry Herndon, we had another roommate. And he's a big old he wasn't as big in those days, kind of a white guy that switch hitting catcher from Chicago, Illinois, and his name was Randy Poffo. And Randy played a couple of years with us. He was our first roommate. I think he went over to Cincinnati, played in the minor leagues for a little bit, got released and went back to Chicago. And then a few years later, I remember Jerry, I saw you in Dallas at the winter meetings. And I said, Jerry, whatever happened to Randy Poffo? And Jerry said, you didn't know that? I go, no, what? He goes, you never heard of Randy Macho Man Savage? And I go, what? Because Jerry, remember his dad was a wrestler, and we used to kind of make fun of it.
No, Angel Poffolo, I think his name.
That's right, Angelo Poffo.
Angelo Poffolo, yeah, right.
And we used to kind of make fun of him, and Randy would get upset about it.
Yeah.
And then later on, it turned out that wrestler turned out to be the most famous, most popular big time wrestler in history.
Yes, he sure did.
Yeah. I caught up with him in Japan one time, and I showed him an old picture of me, you, Larry, and him in Sarasota, Florida, when he was all clean cut.
Yeah.
And he called me. He said, "Hey, Leon, man, when I saw that picture, I almost passed out."
Yeah. Yeah, I have a picture of me and you and him too, Leon. I'm gonna have to get that to you.
You got to get it to me. I gave that last one I had away.
Yeah.
I'd love to have that picture.
Yes.
But you know, one of the things having you guys on, and I know we've all talked about it, and we hear about the different aspects of the game. But before I get there, I also want to introduce you guys to Steve a little more. I know Steve has been talking, but the reason Steve moderates this thing, me and Steve met about 16, 17 years ago. And he had an older brother, Dave, and Dave's son, Ryan, was about, what was he then, Steve? About 12 years old, 13?
About 13, yep.
So he's 28 now. So
Mhm.
so me and Dave passed away a few years later, and a number of years later, and me and Steve has just completely stayed friends. He loves the game. He coaches it. He's a tech guy. And I don't even know how to do this stuff. I couldn't do it without Steve.
Yeah, I heard
But
that.
I just want you guys to know that Steve moderating this thing is a real dear friend, and kind of where I go, he goes. So we get together for breakfast all the time and talk. We have 3-4 hour breakfasts sometimes. So don't let that mild manner fool you. He could sit around and talk baseball with the best of them. So I wanted
Well,
to
that's
give you
good.
those. I wanted to give you those perks on air, Steve,
Yeah.
for our fans. So before we got going.
I
But one of
appreciate
the things I wanted to
appreciate that.
talk about tonight, because we got Jerry on, and I thought maybe Larry'd be on, but I wanted to talk a little bit. I see outfielders, Jerry, now, and you guys chip in. They drop a ball or they miss a ball, balls fall in between fielders. They're in these shifts. And the next thing I know, I see them go in their back pocket and pull out a card and see how they gonna play the next hitter.
Yeah, I
Have
see
you
that
seen
too.
that, Jerry?
Yeah, I really do. I've seen that. I guess we can't change time and technology. I guess they with analytics have, where everybody's gonna hit. They have cards and out. Yeah. But now we had a guy in the dugout, position us where to play pretty much, and we had a pretty good idea too, based on who pitched and how guys hit. But yeah, it has really changed based on that. I see guys with that card.
Oh
And,
man, it
yes,
blows me away. Me and Stony we were talking about that before, huh, Stony?
yeah,
Drives me crazy. It drives me crazy that the guys, number one, if you're an outfielder, you should know how to read bats,
yeah,
so, and kind of have an idea what you got going on before the game even starts.
But back when you played, Jerry, you were mentioning, based on some scouting reports, you had a coach from the dugout kind of positioning, but how much would you adjust yourself based on the situation and who your pitcher was and how you knew the hitters at that time?
Yeah, it's a constant adjustment based on you got to pretty much go over every situation before the guy even let the ball go. You got to know who's hitting, know who's on base, know what inning, know what to score. All it goes to your mind. What order, in the top of the order, middle of the order, lower part of the order, all that's going through your mind based on, the potential of the ball being hit to you. And you got to think every ball is going to be hit to you as an outfielder, infield or anywhere. So, yeah. But it's based on, the pitcher. It's based on who's hitting and then scouting reports the way we did it.
Yeah. And the game situation. And I was kind of wondering if those cards tell you what the game situation is.
Right. Game situation where if it's hit hard, I got a shot at him. If I got to go my left or right, I got to get it, keep the double play in order, things like that.
Yeah, but it used to be, Jerry, you could jump in on this. I mean, as when you're working with young kids too and teaching them, sometime in the dugout, you might tell your outfielder, no matter what level, hey, coming up this 3, 4, 5's coming up this inning. So even when you're running out on the field, you kind of have an idea. You got Willie Stargell coming up. He's a little more of a pull guy.
Mm-hmm.
You got another guy coming up who might be a spray hitter. You got all this information in your head already. So I've seen, even Templeton used to be a shortstop. It was like a ground balls hit up the middle. It was almost like he was moving before the ball was even hit.
Yeah.
Not only his ability to read it off the bat, but also kind of have a general idea that this guy may be a little more of a straightaway hitter. So that information is already in their head, not having to go batter by batter and the coach telling them what to do.
Yeah, and plus too, you got to know your pitchers. If he a hard thrower, if he a finesse thrower, based on how the guy might
There you
hit
go.
the ball.
Yeah,
things like that. That comes into play too. But basically, just your first 3 guys, then you like say middle guys, and and then your bottom on all the guys. You know, it tells you a lot about position and and what they might hit the ball. I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are you teaching the
But
kids, Jerry?
the outfield play, man, what kills me, man, when you're in the outfield, your first step is back, of course, because you got a little time. You want to see where the ball is. But your next step is a real aggressive step to get your body moving.
Uh-huh.
You got guys that's taking a nonchalant first step, and then trying to speed it up to catch the ball. That can be a difference. But you want that. First step is back, and then once you recognize what a ball is, it's got to be an aggressive next step to get that body moving.
Yeah, but what do you say, like, when you see kids nowadays, they're not being taught. I remember you guys used to glide to the ball. You see Ricky and Stony guys that understood if you're running on your heels, the ball would be bouncing around.
You play the game on the ball of your feet always. Every running, hitting, throwing, everything's on the ball of your feet. That's what stabilizes your head movement.
Yep.
You don't want your head. You want your head moving, your eyes are moving. You want that head stable all the way. Not moving. And you want the old folks. The old saying is you want chin and ball.
Yeah, there you go. I haven't heard that one in a while either.
I know you had heard that.
Look at Stony.
Yeah, you want to look chin and ball, looking that ball in, chin picking up that target. Because wherever the chin is, that's where the eyes will be.
And that's how you guys are teaching. And Jerron, you just mentioned earlier that you're teaching kind of youth level between 6 and 14. Those are some of the aspects you're teaching for outfield play.
Goodness, when you talk about cards and things like that, I don't know that that's necessarily helpful at the youth level. That might be one more thing to, kind of get in the way. I spoke to Leon about the kids not really communicating. You see them out on the field and they're not really talking to each other. So I don't know, having cards and things like that, at a youth level, you kind of, like Dad said, you have an idea of who your big hitters are, who some of your heavy hitters are in the middle of the lineup, and you can kind of move accordingly. But I just don't see those communication things like just simple things with 2 outs, just that motion over your head, just letting everybody know, talking to each other. Hey, 2 outs, none over our head. Let's make sure, nothing gets by us type thing. So it's just some of those simple communication things that are lacking in the youth side of it from my perspective.
But don't you think, Stony, when you run your program, I know Ricky agreed, sometime now, when we were young playing a lot of pickup ball, you couldn't hardly shut nobody up. And now you ask the kid, any questions? Don't nobody say a word. It's almost like the coaches now control everything, where kids are almost afraid to communicate. They're afraid to say things, especially kids the age you're working with. And Stony, might realize that sometimes, don't you think the game belongs to the kids? The kids need it's not only so much communicating, but sometimes actually even coaching each other. I know Ricky playing first base, sometimes if he knows a guy and he's playing off, he's letting the second baseman know that he's coming off the line a little bit, which you let the second baseman, drift a little bit the other way, because the whole field's kind of got to move in unison, right?
Exactly. I mean, I think, it's kind of like what Jerry was saying, anticipation, preparation. You gotta know before balls even pitch what's going on out there, and I think the cards today takes away from just learning the game, understanding the game. They're doing everything for you, telling you where they play. You should already kind of know, because when we play, I'm gonna take it back a little bit. We always had the preparation meetings before the game, before a series, before everything. So you kind of knew where to play the guys that were hitting and dictating the pitcher that was throwing and everything. So it was kind of already mindset on what you were doing out there, So I think the cards take away from it, but the communication is key. Out on that field, and anticipation. So.
Well, I know when I get ready to go to the batter, I could have all the preparation too. Our mental preparation, those cards, you can write down on a card. And I put in my pocket, and I come to the plate my first time up and put it on my plate and say, I know this pitcher's going to throw me a first pitch fastball, but that was 3 weeks ago. Now today, this guy may not throw me a first pitch fastball. I can't be sitting there focused on my head on one point because this game's just not that predictable. You got to be able to feel. I used to kind of, and Jerry, any of you guys that hit, sometimes you get in the batter's box, you might say, well, I'm on fastball timing. I'm looking fastball. But there's something about that pitcher right at that split second where almost like for a fact he's about to throw you a breaking ball. It's hard to put your finger on it and see what he did mechanically, but your mind tells you right then that there's that curveball coming. I even talked to Derek sometime about it, my son. He said, Pop, is that guessing? He was in the big leagues when he said that. Sometimes I just knew that grass was gonna throw me a curveball. But I can't say I was guessing for a curveball. I said, no, that's just instincts, right?
hey guys, I got to chip in with my little bit here on that.
There you go.
Okay. I'm looking mistake every pitch. Okay.
There you go.
I'm looking anything over what I'm looking mistake every pitch. I'm thinking myself mistake. That's what's my mind. That's what's going through my mind. Every pitch. If he throws the ball, I'm thinking. I back out and say, okay, I'm looking for a mistake. So basically, I look slow. Okay, so I can let the ball come to me. I don't want to jump out there and get it. Okay, mm-hmm. So he doing me a favor if he slow it down when I play. Okay.
Well,
because I'm looking to let the ball travel. I'm not looking to try to jump out and go get it. So I'm looking. I'm want to be back set. I want it to come, and I'm looking for a mistake every pitch.
Yep. But that's what good hitters hit. Good hitters hit pitchers' mistakes.
That's the only way you're gonna hit. The ball's on the black. Hey, tough luck. Hey, it's the mistakes. It could
That's
be
right.
First, you be ready. I'm ready every pitch.
Yeah.
I'm looking mistake every pitch.
You ready to go?
I learned that. Hey, Leon, I learned that from my good friend George Hendrick.
Yeah, remember George?
Yeah, we come to the clubhouse every day. George, what's going on? Man, I'm just looking for that mistake.
And make them pay for it.
I said, what? I said, come here, young man. He said, that ball they trying to get on top of the curve ball and then hang around the plate. That's that ball I'm looking for. I'm looking for mistake every pitch. That's
right.
Yeah. And that's that's where
Jerry, Hank Aaron told me himself, and I've told these guys this story before. Hank Aaron said, Leon, he said, I hit 755 home runs. He said, I hit 750 pitcher mistakes.
Yes.
He said, I give myself credit for 5 of them.
That's it.
I'm looking at mistakes.
He said, pitcher make a mistake, I get him. If he don't make a mistake, I tip my hat and go sit down. Go.
That's it. But I'm looking mistake every pitch.
That's it. That's a good point right there. That's a good point.
So you're not necessarily looking for a type of pitch like a fastball or curveball. You're just looking for
I'm looking for anything. I'm looking for anything over the white part of the plate. Mm-hmm. If it's fast or slow, but
if your hands are set, you're going to catch up with a slow. Yeah,
I'm back. When he get the top of his delivery, I'm back and set. I'm ready to fire my hands at a mistake over that white part of the plate, whether it's fast or slow. And like I said, I really look slow to make me see the ball first.
Yeah, okay. Slow it down. That's the whole key is slow the ball down.
And if it's fast, I can just boom, pull my hand down. But if it's slow, that's the ball I try to hit out.
Yeah, that's interesting because I remember Stony telling a story about, I forget who was getting hit because they were looking for a curveball and somebody threw a fastball. Is that true, Stony?
Breaking ball, yeah. Delano Jr., I think he was looking for a breaking ball, got hit with a fastball in the face.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why when you guys were talking about these guys getting hit in the face, I think a lot of these guys, when they step back like that, I think they're guessing. And these guys are throwing way too hard, to be looking for a breaking ball and then react, and it's too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking more about reacting as a hitter rather than looking for a specific type of pitch. You guys, back when you played, you reacted more to making sure something's just over the plate. You just reacted.
Yeah, like I said, I'm back. I'm set when the ball's in flight. I see it out of his hand. I got both eyes. My head's not moving. My head is still. Both eyes watching the ball come in. And like I said, if he throw me something slow, he doing me a favor because I want the ball. I'm not thinking about diving out. I'm thinking about letting it come, travel. Okay. And
that's
if
the
he
whole
told me,
key with timing and rhythm. You know, Jerry,
Yeah.
that's what a lot of coaches now, they're talking all these mechanics and launch angles and elbows and knees, but nobody gets into a rhythm in what they're hitting. Like I said, when they're kind of going back, you can literally slow the ball down.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's a fastball, you're still able to track the ball. And if your eyes flinch in any kind of way,
Yeah.
you know, that's when the ball moves. And I think that's what gets a lot of hitters in trouble. That's what Mariano Rivera threw the same pitch 99% of the time, the cutter, late break.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the hitters that jerk, you know, that late break, they're swinging where they think the ball's going to be instead of swinging where they know the ball's going to be.
Yep. Yeah, but that's body, jerking it with body. I'm thinking hands. I'm thinking firing hands.
Yeah.
Hands and no body. That's my approach.
Yeah.
And you, Ricky and Stony and Jerron, you guys use that same approach, just react to what you see?
I'm sitting dead red and reacting to everything else.
you looking fast and ready to gear down.
Yes.
Okay. That's what they teach, That's what they teach. I like to look slow to make sure I see the ball first.
Now later in my career, a couple of hitting guys, worked with me with that, and it worked for a while.
Okay.
But it just, I was a little uncomfortable with it. But on certain days it worked for me.
Okay.
And Ricky,
I was a high fastball hitter, so I mean, I was ready to hit, but I never drifted though. I kept my hands back, so if they threw change ups and breaking balls, I could always get my hands to it and hit that ball out of the park because I had something to hit with. I wasn't out front lunging at the ball, so I did keep my hands back, and I just tried to fire hands like Jerry said. I tried to fire my hands to the top of that baseball, whether it was slow or fast, and I knew I could do some damage with it if I can get my hands to the top of it.
Right. The key, you didn't drift. You weren't drifting out there. That's the key. Yeah, you want to fight them hands. You don't want to be drifting out. You want to fight them hands without drifting.
And Jerron, what do you say about that?
Being taught by that gentleman, I would agree. That's everything I would agree with. What I would say is at the youth level, what I've noticed is, your front foot has to be down. Before that ball is released. And what you see a lot is these young guys are swinging with their eyes and the things they see these bigger guys doing on TV, and they don't really have the body for it yet. So they have these big leg kicks and big strides, and that works until they start throwing a little bit faster, and then you can't get that front foot down, and that ball's catching up to you. So I would say my main thing is to make sure that my front foot, my stride foot is down before that ball is released. So when I do that, I feel like I can see the ball an extra 5 minutes. It's just a different feeling.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Good point.
That's a good point. Yeah. See, me, I played 10 years in Japan, so I got kind of spoiled. Everything I saw was moving. I'd go a week in between seeing a fastball. It's only because he played Korea. Everything over there is moving.
Oh yeah.
And they don't come after you with if you're looking at 3-1 fastball in Japan, you still be waiting. You ain't getting a 3-1 fastball. Everything you see there is sinking and dipping and cutting. So I'm with Jerry. I got to the point where I just had to make sure my hands stayed back and I let the ball travel. So then when the ball did the late dipping and moving, at least I was able to compete with it. And if I knew something was starting about knee high and was going to go down from there, I just let it go. That's where I was like with Ricky. You get that ball up in the zone, I hurt you. I just made it a point. And that was the cocky part of my hitting. And Jerry tell you, if that pitcher make a mistake and he get that ball up, I'm going to make you pay for it. That's it. That's my mindset. I don't care nothing about mechanics. I don't care nothing about pregame video. At that moment when I'm in the batter's box and that wrestler make a mistake up in the zone, I'm coming out my shoes.
That's good. Let me ask you guys about what do you think about your strong hand being your hammer, meaning your strong hand get the bat head to the ball. Can anybody? I know the ball up because Andre Dawson, one of the greatest top end guys, you know, using that strong hand on top, ball
Bam,
up,
the hammer.
like you, Ricky. I'm sure, and throwing that hammer, that strong hand at the ball, being up. You know, I never seen a guy hit the ball up like him. But I know you can hit the ball too, good, Ricky. Up. But did you concentrate on that strong hand, Ricky, when that ball was up?
Definitely.
Down?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you had to get that strong top hand to it to hit it.
Yeah, right.
And the Hawk was one of the best at it. I played against.
He was the best.
It was some balls. It was unbelievable. Sometimes some balls almost hit him in the face, and he'd chop him out of the ballpark. I said, "Boy, he got a tough top hand, boy." The Hawk.
He had some tremendous top hand. They said.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're gonna swing at those balls, you got to be able to get that top hand on top of to drive that baseball from up there.
Yeah. It's that top end gets that bad hit to the ball.
Yes. Yes.
Now you see some of the weaker hitters. Sometimes they'll say your guide hand, your front hand is your strength hand, and all that. I don't buy into that at all. When I hear people say that, Jerry, I'd say you probably couldn't hit very well.
Yeah.
Say it again, Stony.
That top hand is that knockout punch.
You ain't kidding.
It is.
That's right.
You got guys not even using it. Right-handed, not even dropping and lifting, not even using it. That's your hammer. That's your knockout. That's
Thank you.
It's like if you in the boxing ring with somebody, and you're gonna throw your strong hand and knock him out. You're not gonna be your left hand if you're right-handed.
Exactly right. You're right. Your weak hand is gonna set it up. The hammer is what's gonna fire, and it's got to have some length to it too.
Yeah.
You want it to come from somewhere where it could do some damage. You don't want it to come from in here and
it's got to be back, like you throw the punch, like you finna knock somebody out. It's got to fire from back there. Yeah,
exactly. That's a great point, Jerry. Great point.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of my youth kids that I deal with, I have them keep two hands on the bats as far as all the drills, and so that way they start to feel that and get that top hand getting through, and they can really feel it. A lot of kids start letting it go and want to, they want to finish, and you haven't hit the ball yet.
You haven't hit it yet.
Well,
that's right.
That's good.
Yeah, impact is important, but that impact, like I always say, don't hit to the ball, hit through the ball.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny you say that. I see some old clips of Dad, and boy, he really
some old clips too
through the swing. Oh man, that's funny.
Hey Jerry, I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, that's all good, man. It's fun. Yeah.
Hey, I tell you, I saw one the other day, and I think it was the Yankees. It said, "Hey, Jerry Mumphrey, this buzz for you." It popped up on the screen. I said, "Wow, takes you back a long way." But
it does. It does.
Yep.
I tell you, I can't even explain the friendships we had. See, because Jerry, your dad had a nickname back in the day when he was coming up. We'd be down in Florida, and the guys they call him Mumbles. Remember that, Jerry?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I was the only one. When Jerry didn't talk a whole lot, but I was the only one could understand him. So I was like Jerry's translator. So every time somebody say something, I'd have to tell them what Jerry said.
Oh man!
I kind of spoke fast with that Texas accent.
Yeah, you had that Texas. That was so funny.
Yeah,
but we were like, we would pool our money in Florida. We'd be down there. Didn't nobody have a whole lot of money in, but there's a Maryland fried chicken up the street on 4th Street North.
Yeah,
I don't even know how I just remembered that. So we would pool all of our money and go up there at night, and the guy there would give us all the rest of the chicken and shrimp, everything they got in there. We go back to the Edgewater Beach Hotel.
Yeah,
and we'd be killing that chicken.
So wait a minute, y'all didn't get a $4.5 million signing bonus and all that?
No, we made $5 a day meal money.
You didn't get to take all your friends on a cruise after you signed your contract?
Oh man!
Wow.
Hey, remember what was that there's a hamburger stand called the White Horse or White House?
White House.
White Castle.
White Castle.
Yeah,
that was it. And then we'd be in spring training, and the people would get up there in front of all us young guys. We ain't got no money in our pocket, and they go, "Now, when you guys go to the restaurant, you got to read the menu from left to right, not right to left. It's okay, yeah, we're gonna go in there and buy a filet mignon with $5.
Oh, it's great.
And we still got 3 more meals to eat.
That's
man.
crazy.
Hey, Jerry, one more outfield question I wanted to ask you. I know we've talked about this with some others on podcasts, including Stony, since he played outfield. What about the outfield throwing and the arm today? And how did you guys practice and work on your outfield throwing back when you played, as far as hitting cutoffs and throwing out runners at the bases?
True. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I had to learn this. It took me a little while, but I had a coach named Jose Martinez. He taught me footwork. Really footwork. And the footwork is if you're right-handed, your left foot, you feel the ball off your left foot, and it's 1, 2, throw the ball falling forward. So your momentum and your arm speed develop your speed of the ball. And you don't have to be a real strong muscle-bound guy to throw the ball hard like that. It's a matter of footwork. 1, 2, throw the ball falling forward, letting gravity take you forward, along with the whipping action of going over the top. That's what creates speed, And you want to throw the ball with cross seams, so the ball will turn over so you can hit, So if they hit the ground, it'll go forward. But always hitting your cutoff, man. Always, again, picking that, feeling that ball, 1, 2, throw the ball, chin and target, boom.
That's a good point. But I got a question for Stony and Ricky on that point, Jerry, is that I might be biased, and that's why I'm not going to answer it. But I think the arms in the outfield today is the worst I ever seen in my life. I don't want to be critical, but I see balls thrown way up the lines. I've seen balls thrown, coming home, the runner's just coming around third, and the outfielder's got the ball and he scores easily. I mean, are you guys seeing the same thing, Stony, Ricky? I mean, I'm not seeing the arms. Are the guys throwing enough? They're not taking in and out ever. They don't practice throwing the targets. Like Jerry said, they're not hitting cutoff guys.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing too. And in some games where I'm thinking guys should be thrown out, or at least should even be a close play at the plate. And I don't see that. The ball's up the line or down the line. But what also is going on too is you got a lot of just hitters out in the outfield that they stuff them out in the outfield for their bat. Yeah. And then and they'll substitute the defense for the bat. And so you'll get some outfielders that really shouldn't be out in the outfield, playing, and it costs them sometimes.
That's a good point. Good point.
That is a good point. That I hadn't thought of that. That is a real good point.
A lot of guys out there.
Schwarber, he's on fire, but he's not an outfielder. But he plays in the outfield. Schwarber for the Nationals.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's on fire, but he's not an outfielder. But you got to find a place for that bat. So you'll have to, some pitchers ERA is going to go up a little bit, because of Schwarber out there, and a couple balls is going to fall in and get over his head because he's not a natural outfielder. So you got to look good in the bat.
And you got a lot of guys out there throwing the ball. They fighting gravity out there. They're not flowing with gravity. Exactly. And that's the flow with gravity. Gravity takes you forward. That generates a lot of your speed.
That's true. Yep, that's a point. That's athleticism, though, not mechanical. I think there's so many mechanical things going on now these days that the athleticism is lacking. Not even throwing to a place, but actually knowing where to throw it before you get it, and getting your body lined up and saying, I dare this guy go first or third. Now it's like hold back, slow up, do this mechanically correct, and then throw it. And you've already given the runner 3 or 4 steps. Yeah,
it's all about knowing the situation. You got to go over every situation before it happens, before the pitcher let it go. You got to know who's on, who's running. All this got to go through your mind. All this go through your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the last 3 or 4 days. I've seen 3 runners get doubled off of first base on routine line drives.
Yeah.
One got to the shallow outfield, but there was another soft liner up the middle at the short. They were in a shift, but the shortstop or second baseman came in and caught the ball in the air and double the runner off first base. And to me, that it's not so much that they're making base running mistakes, as the players aren't in a habit, like Ricky said, and Stony said, of seeing the situation before it happens. We always knew that if you're a runner with less than 2 outs and there's a ball hitting the air, you freeze.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unless it was a line drive and you're running on the play. If you're running on the play, then line drive hit, just keep running. But I've seen some of the most routine mistakes in the game now that I think it's just coming from kids not being able. They don't play pickup ball the way we used to. They haven't established the instincts for the game. And what we talk about on here, Jerry and Ricky, Stony, and Jerron, we talk about the old school, new school. That's what I like to say.
Yeah.
The old school, if you want to put a tag on it, is full of old guys that played a ton of pickup ball and learned what they could and couldn't do on the ball field. You know, we didn't really need to have a coach. They were there because of the title, because we knew how to play. But the kids now completely depend on coaching.
Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah. Good point.
So Stony and Jerron, how are you guys teaching that at the youth level, making sure that they have that anticipation? I know when I coached, you know, keeping especially outfielders really engaged at the very young age to make sure they're on their balls, their feet on every pitch was a challenge. You know, how are you guys approaching that?
Well, what I do with my guys, to go back to what Jerron was saying about the communication, is I have a communication drill for my outfielders. And so whoever's in center, and I rotate the outfielders, whoever's in center, he has to communicate with the rest of the guys. And the guys are on the side of him. So I'll throw some balls in the gap and I won't hit them. I'll throw them just to hear him communicate, to see, you know, what it's like to communicate, what this guy has to do, because you have to depend on those guys back, because it's a fence behind you. So I need to trust this guy to my left and my right, because I can get hurt out here. If, you know, so I need to know, you know, what he's going to say, fence, couple steps left, you know. So the communication is really huge out in the outfield, because I've seen a lot of, at the youth age, a lot of kids not communicating and actually get hurt.
And Jerron, how are you approaching that with your youth?
I would just say you tend to see more mechanics and not fundamentals, if that makes any sense.
It does.
You know, so I'll tell you this, just watching old tape, if you can get through the beta side of it and actually see where you can see it clear. Those old tapes will show you guys that played in Dad's era. I watched Dad, whether it was year 14 or year 3 or year 1, he was catching every single ball with 2 hands. So there's no reason why a youth baseball player that hasn't accomplished anything but winning a ring on the weekend is too good to be able to have those same fundamentals as somebody who made a living for, you know, 20 plus years in the game of baseball doing it. So these are the things that we need to focus on, and these are the things that are going to, you know, make it better for everybody around. So.
You want 2 hands on that ball where you transfer that ball out of the glove? Call it transfer. 2 hands.
Yep.
Leon,
but everything is cool now.
Leon, I'd like to ask Jerry about what's he think about these guys in the big leagues now running into fences so much. Why you running into the fence out there in the outfield? I don't get that.
I know, man.
That's embarrassing.
I did that my rookie year, though, man.
I mean, it's a lot going on now, though, out there with them. A lot.
I see it a lot. You're right. The guy ran into the fence like he didn't think the fence was even there.
Yeah, I mean, how do you not know what a track is and where you're going out there? I didn't get.
Well, you got to put that hand out there, man. You know, you run back, you throw one in your hands out there. That stop you from hitting the wall.
And feel your feet. I mean, the warning track is there too.
Yeah. You got the warning track, but still, you know what I'm saying, too, you're running, you throw that one hand out there.
Yeah.
You know, that you know, you feel that wall quick.
Yeah, and that goes back to a lot what you guys were saying about communication too. How come the other outfielders ain't saying you got room or saying something too?
Thank you. There you go.
That's the huge part of it. Where are my guys out there that I entrust out there to be my eyes for me when I'm going to get this for the ball club?
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
correct.
But you know, I learned way back too that when you're going back for a ball, I mean, there's times when you see guys are not taking their eye off the ball. They're trying to drift back with it. And sometimes there's a reason for it, maybe the high skies or the sun. But for the most part, when you read a ball off the bat properly and you make the turn, you can make a turn and get the first 3 or 4 steps going back after a ball. And in that time, you already, in your peripheral or looking straight ahead, you know exactly where that fence is. You know, and timing wise, if you're out there practicing a lot of times, taking balls off the bat during batting practice, you can almost, you know where you're playing. You can almost tell by your steps, how many steps you took at what angle going straight back, exactly how far you are from that fence. So that's just gathering information on your own, not waiting for, it's like coaches, a player sitting right there and a ball sitting right at his feet. And he won't pick it up until the coach tell him to. You know, instead of saying, oh, that ball's down by my foot, let me pick it up and throw it in, you know. So I'm seeing this whole system now of kids. And I've worked with a lot of kids, and I tell them, you know, get loud out there sometime. A ball go in there, call it. Even if it's not your ball, make you, you know, think that it is your ball until somebody calls you off, because there is no really right and wrong. I don't know how you guys agree with that. In this game, it's just consequences.
Yeah.
You know, one thing.
Plus, too, you want to peep back there and look, you know, kind of peep when you're running back there, trying to, you know, finding that wall, peep and look, you know.
Yeah. Well, a base runner stole the base the other day and something happened and he jumps up and didn't know where to go, because the base runners don't even peep when they're still in bases, Jerry.
Yeah, you peep. Yeah, peep, peep, you look in, peep. Yeah.
Better believe it. You get a lot of information.
Yeah.
And that brings up another topic I wanted to ask Jerry is, you know, I was looking at your stats, and of course you a pretty good base stealer. So what would you look for when you wanted to steal a base back when you played?
Okay. On a right-handed pitcher, I'm looking at 2 things. I'm looking at if he's right-handed pitcher, I'm looking at his left foot on the rubber, and I'm looking at his right foot. When he bends that right foot, I'm gone. And when he lifts if he lifts that foot off the rubber, I got to get back. Another thing too, that first, when you're stealing bases, that first 2 or 3 steps is really important. It's a real aggressive step to get your body moving forward. That's where you steal that base, with that body moving forward fast. If you're nonchalant, then you try to speed it up. That's where you get thrown out. You want to be aggressive.
But I don't want to cut you off, Jerry. Jerry, I don't want to cut you off, but I'm going to tell Steve the facts. Here's the facts.
Okay.
Now, Jerry and Larry and all these guys, they learn how to look at those different things. But the truth of the matter is that Jerry could take off anytime he wanted to and just outrun the ball.
Hey, yeah, thanks for that, Leon.
Because we were playing against the Kansas City Royals Academy, and I think it was Sarasota or Bradenton won. And Jerry hit a one-hopper back to the pitcher, and the one, this is the honest to God truth. I've seen it with my own eyes, as Satchel Paige said. He hit a one high hopper to the pitcher, and the pitcher threw the first, and Jerry beat it out. And now everybody on the bench just sit there and just shut up. Nobody could say a word, because we couldn't believe what we just saw. If somebody would have told me that and I hadn't seen it, I wouldn't have believed it. But I saw it with my own eyes. So now, Jerry, you could talk all you want to about what you look for in feet, but all you had to do was take off, and they couldn't throw you out.
I heard that. I used to be slapping it. That's what I was moving and slapping at that ball and running, Leon.
Woo! I mean to tell you, I had never, and like Lou Brock said, he said, that ain't running fast, that's flying low.
Yeah.
27 1980. Was that right?
What's that?
27 consecutive stolen bases in 1980.
Yes, yeah, that was me.
That sound about, and really, Jerron, if the truth be told, in those days, when you think about Willie Mays and more, some of the guys went for stolen base records, but the stolen base was just kind of part of all the tools. You stole it when you needed it. You kind of had a thing. You weren't just out there running for running, because Jerry could have been one of them 100 stolen bases a year too. If in a mind, when you say, I'm going to go out here and break a record to steal bases, but Jerry and Larry, you guys, the really good ball players were still their 30 or 40 bases, but they would steal them at times when it was needed, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, analytics tries to tell us today that stolen bases don't compute. They might not analytically, but they might in the situation where, you got to hold a guy and you have to put more attention into something than you normally would have. That's what you can't really quantify through analytics.
Speed, I mean, stolen base, number one, is exciting for the fans. People pay money to see a stolen base. Number two, it's I know it's entertainment, so runners, but situational. It's not even about when Jerry get on base. It's not even about him stealing the base. It's about the pitcher thinking he's gonna steal the base.
Mhm.
Because if I'm up, instead of that guy throwing a curveball in the dirt, he might throw me an extra fastball because he's worried about Jerry running, and I get something I can hit out the ballpark.
Good.
See?
That's good. That's
So
good.
the threat of the stolen base sometimes is, but if the analytics is saying, everybody's saying, well, we're not going to steal, well, then the pitcher don't have to worry about anything.
Exactly. That's
Back
it.
in the day, they call that a split screen runner. As soon as you get on base, they got the split screen back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, when
Yep.
I tell you, when I was when Derek, my son, first got called up to the big leagues, and I had met Deion Sanders. Deion was with Cincinnati then, and he got on first base, and I saw him talking to Derek. I'm sitting right over the first base dugout. I hope Deion listened to this podcast, but he asked Derek. Derek pointed up a little bit during the game, up above the dugout, and I kind of waved at Deion at first base, and he kind of gave me a little thumbs up. Literally looked at me, and he pointed to second base. Let the whole stadium know he's about to steal.
Mm.
And he stole it.
That's
And
just
everybody in the ballpark know Jerry Mumphrey get on base. There's a chance he's gonna steal, but they still got to do the right things to throw him out.
Yeah.
The pitcher can't move. The pitcher can't change his feet.
Yeah.
If Jerry,
Hey,
if he's gonna go home, he's got to lift his left heel up.
right. But
And Jerry
but,
don't have you don't have 100-foot lead. I mean, he can't pick you off.
yeah, but but again too, I say this: I was blessed with God-given speed, and I thank God for that. Even a guy, if he can't run, if he that crossover, if it's aggressive, getting that body moving quick, he'll look faster. Okay,
That's right. That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
Yeah, I see.
I mean,
today,
Derek,
the guys almost stand up when their
Yeah.
first step, they almost stand up instead of, I'm
Yeah.
thinking they should be more like a track runner coming out of the blocks.
exactly.
you coming out using both hands like a track runner. You pulling down with both hands to get that body moving fast, quick.
Yeah. So you're kind of like at full speed by the time you get 2-3 steps, you're rolling,
Yeah.
right, Jerry?
That's why I want to be full speed, just coasting in from there.
Yeah.
I think what Jerron said was a key point is they can't quantify the impact that speed has on a defensive player or a pitcher because it's totally disruptive to the infield defense when there's a base stealer on.
Yes, true. That's real. That's it. Right.
Especially at the youth level, they will throw it away.
Yeah.
I
They will
know
throw it
all
away
about
at some point.
You know that, Stony.
And they'll throw it away at the big league level too. You know what I
I
mean?
know that's right.
At all levels. I seen them throw them away at all levels, depending on who's
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But see, when me and Jerry was coming up, we had an old guy named George Kissel.
Yeah. George,
And George would go, you guys, he talking to me especially, said, you let them rabbits get on base so them turtles can drive them in.
yeah. Yeah.
George.
You remember that, Jerry?
Yeah, I love George Kissel. He one of the all-time great coaches.
Oh, man, they didn't get no. Hey, Ricky, did you ever run into George Kissel?
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
I know the name though. I know the name. Yeah.
George was a Cardinal. He was a Cardinal all his life.
All this whole career,
Yeah.
60-something years. I think he'd get a cup of coffee over with Cincinnati, but he couldn't stand and came right back to St. And
Okay.
George's favorite words were, it's a good day to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
It didn't make a difference if it was 110 degrees or 22 below zero. It was a good day to work.
And he came to work every day. Yes,
Every single day, no matter what. Man, oh man, oh man.
He sounded like he loved the game. He was a gamer, huh?
He was a gamer.
Game. Yeah.
Yep, we were instruction league, and he put the early work and late workers on the board. He had my name on the board, and he says, Lil Lee, he said, don't ever think your name's coming off that board.
Yeah, he would do classrooms kind of stuff. Remember that
That's
situation?
right.
He would ask us on the bench, "What would you do in this situation?"
Exactly.
Things like that. Yeah.
Man, it was beautiful. He keep you alert all the time.
Yeah,
That's great.
And Jerry, I'm gonna make you retell a story. Before we started recording today, you were keying a good story off of a good stat that you had, that you only got hit by a pitch 4 times in your career when you had over 5,000 plate appearances. And you were telling some good stories of when you did get thrown at by some certain pitchers back then and how you reacted. So can you retell that story?
Yeah, I was talking about the time, I think it was in the 81 series, Yankees, Oakland. I think I had a real good game that before his game, and we went to Oakland, and I think Billy had Matt Kehoe to throw at me. I was just saying that, I like to be back and set when the ball's in flight, both eyes watching that ball. I saw it right out of his hands. I mean, I didn't get hit much because I could get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
I was like I said, I was, when the ball's in flight, I'm set, both eyes watching it. As soon as he let it go, I knew where it was coming right in my head. I went down.
Yeah, you're right. Oakland A's and New York Yankees in 81 league championship series, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, did Matt Kehoe ever reconcile that with you?
Yeah, we became teammates with the Cubs, and he said, "Man, Billy told me to do it." I said, "Okay."
Who's that, Matt Kehoe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he passed away. Yep.
Yeah, he did. Matt came over to Japan.
Did he?
And he was pitching in Japan, but I hit him really hard. And I told him, I said, the only reason I hit you so hard because you kept giving away your pitches. I tried not to see those things, but you kept showing it to me. and boy, I would rake him. And I finally told him at the end of the year, I said, every time I see your elbow, when you turn to come throw, I see the back of your elbow. And every time I see your elbow behind your back, it's going to be a fastball. And if I don't see your elbow, it's a curveball.
Good.
So he go, oh man, why didn't you tell me that earlier? I said I needed to get my stats.
Yeah.
I tell you a funny story about Matt Kehoe. We'd all get together, all the American players get together after games, and every year in Tokyo, there's 3 or 4 teams in Tokyo, and all the foreign guys. We'd always meet at this Italian restaurant, and every time the check time came, Matt would take off. You could never find Matt when the check time came. And so one time we set it all up. We was in this real expensive restaurant. Randy Bass and myself, Boomer Wells, we were all in this restaurant. And we had it set up. We all eased out of there. Man, that bill had to be about $1,500. And we all eased out. We left Matt there. And we eased out of there. And Matt come running out that restaurant. We was all gone. He said, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? I said, no, you paying the bill tonight, buddy.
Oh, man.
But that Matt he was a good people though. He was good people.
Yeah, his ex-wife was, I believe, on the first season of one of those reality shows. I remember seeing him on there a long time ago. I think he had a son that was playing at some point.
Yeah,
his son was in the minor leagues.
Pretty good player. Yeah.
Matt
was on that show. He was on that show quite a bit too.
I did. I remember seeing him. I said, man, that's the guy. That's the guy took through it. Put Pop on the deck.
Oh yeah, he probably knew you was my friend.
That's great.
Yeah, he had a good career actually.
Yeah. But I the story I told you guys before I heard from Satchel Paige. It all originated really from Jerry because we were in Tulsa and we had Jerry and remember when Satchel used to come out and sit out in the bullpen, Jerry?
That was his home, Tulsa. He came out.
That's home, yeah. He would, and we were talking about how fast Jerry and Larry was. And old Satchel one night he goes, let me tell you guys about fast. He said, I played with Cool Papa Bell.
Yeah. Cool Papa Bell, yeah.
I played with Cool Papa Bell. He said, I saw with my own eyes Jerron, he said, cool Papa Bell got to the plate and he hit a line drive right up the middle. And the ball hit him in the head when he was sliding into second base. And then he goes, now that's fast. Now I've seen Jerry, I told you, I seen him hit that one hopper to first base and beat it out. Now, to me, that's fast. You can't, but with Satchel, when he told the story, you'd be so far into it, you believe it until after a while you realize it's just one of them old stories, because these guys know how to tell some stories, boy, I tell you.
Yeah.
What was that like to see a legend of that type?
Well,
did you notice it then, or was it something now you can reflect back on and enjoy it more?
No, I enjoyed it even then, but the excitement I got was my dad came out to Tulsa to see me play, and he worshiped Satchel Paige. Well, he came up through that era, and he was able to sit out in the bullpen and talk to Satchel Paige.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the rest of my life, my dad no matter who he talked to, he was always telling them he sat down with Satchel Paige.
Yeah,
I mean, that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
He never said nothing
awesome.
about. Yeah. He had two sons playing professional baseball. He'd always just talk about the fact that he met Satchel Paige.
That's really good. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Of course, I want people to listen to our podcast, but I have to mention that they did start a new podcast for the Negro League Museum, and it's called Black Diamonds. So
Black Diamonds, I've heard that. Yeah,
I do think people should listen to that, because there's a lot of good history there and a lot of good baseball stories, and I think that is an important part of our history in general, but baseball history as well.
Certainly, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I listened to a couple of them. They're good. They had Dave Stewart and CC Sabathia and David Price on one that they belonged to what was that, a club, the 20 game winners club, that the black players that win 20 games, they belong to a club, they called it. Can't think of it now. Black Aces.
Black Aces.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I hadn't heard of it, and that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, of course, you'd have to include Mr. Don Newcomb in that.
That's right. He's in it.
That's right.
Because they named them all. But yeah, where are we at now, Steve?
Well, Leon, yeah, I hate to do this to y'all, but I think we're coming up against our hour time limit. I do want to at least go around the table one more time for you guys' final thoughts, because I just don't want to miss any good stories. So, Mr. Jerry Mumphrey, you have any final thoughts for this evening?
No, other than it's just been a wonderful time together with you, everyone that's here. It's always great talking about baseball. I love it, and I just thank Leon and you and Steve for having, and everybody here for having me here tonight.
And Jerron, thanks again for joining us. Do you have any final thoughts this evening?
Yeah, I feel the same way as Dad. Just very blessed to be on this podcast with you guys. Really have enjoyed it. Just excited to be in the youth space and have the opportunity to really start teaching this game, reteaching it from the youth level on. So it's a tall task, but I'm excited about it and ready to go, and just excited for all the support that we've received from it so far. So just appreciate everybody today, and really enjoyed everybody's time on the podcast today.
And Stony, how about yourself?
Just thank you guys once again for having me, and Jerry and your son, you guys, Jerron. Thank you guys. It's been a great night. It was awesome. Very informative for the kids, that are listening in, and young youth coaches. I think it was a very good night, to get some very good instruction that they can pass on to the youth.
Mr. Ricky Jordan?
Well, Steve, appreciate you and Leon having me on as always. Very blessed to be here. Happy to be on with Jerry and Jerron. New faces on the podcast. Get some information from them. Hear some old school stuff, and glad to see another young man teaching the youth how to play the baseball the right way. It's baseball's ABC. It's not all that DEF. GHI, Teach the game the right way, and these kids need to know that, you know, it takes no talent to hustle out there, you know, and just stay with the game. If you like the game, stay in it, listen and learn on your own too. So I'm just happy. Thanks for having me again.
And Leon, final thoughts from you?
Final thoughts is for me to have these guys on this podcast right now that, you know, we've been doing for a while. Is just, to me, it's a dream come true. I know we're getting old, but I got the gray hair going here, but I'm like a kid in the candy store when I just, you know, me and Ricky grew up together. I'm a little older. Stony, you know, play with my son is something that's super close. I started my life in baseball with Jerry, and now to see his son Jerron all grown up, he's probably around my son's age and how fast time goes. But I can't even put into words what Jerry means to me, you know. And we first showed up in Sarasota. I thought I was all of that stuff in Sacramento, and I got to Florida and I see a guy like Jerry, and I go, oh my God, how am I going to compete here? And then I realized Jerry's kind of thinking the same thing. And then we became like super duper great friends, and to see 50 years later that we're sitting here talking to each other again after so many things that have happened, and we've lost friends and things have happened, and here we are talking again. I just can't even put it into words. So this is historical for me and memorable, and I can't thank you guys enough for being on here. So it's a historical podcast. I'm never going to get rid of it, and Steve is going to take it over and tell you guys how to lock into it when he uploads it. So thanks again, guys, and I love you with all my heart too.
Yeah,
Love
thanks.
you back.
Yeah,
We love you too. We love you
Love
too.
you, Leon. Love you.
Well, thanks again, guys. Obviously, for me, it's a privilege and honor to listen to some professionals like yourselves talk baseball and talk about life in general and tell your stories. And thanks again, Jerry Mumphrey, Ricky Jordan, Stony Briggs, Jerron Mumphrey, and Leon Lee. And I want to point out, how special it is to have the father-son relationship here on the podcast of Jerry Mumphrey and his son, Jerron Mumphrey, because, when I think about baseball, I think about my dad a lot and the importance of that father-son relationship and how baseball integrates into that. So I think it's just very special to have you guys on tonight together. And again, I want to remind everybody that the podcast is on talkingbaseballwithleonlee.podbean.com. And you can also search and find it on Google Podcasts and Spotify. And we hope to talk baseball with you all again soon. Stay safe.